welcome to webinar 4, which is a 3-session exclusive with John Barlett from the NBA, high performance guru Phil Haywood, and our guest for this session, John Mosley Jr. John Mosley is the head coach of men's basketball at East Los Angeles College, which was featured on the Netflix hit Last Chance U Basketball. Watched by millions of viewers from around the world, Mosley has rapidly developed a strong following of fans through his passionate coaching methods and inspiring role as a mentor to his players in life and sport, helping guide them into Division I universities and hopefully one day into the NBA. We are very lucky to have Coach Mosley join us for this session, which will be presented today by Ryan Kogelman, the Managing Director of RDK Sports International. But just before I hand it over to Ryan, I would like to thank our events partners. Firstly, to our major event partner, the City of Gold Coast. We are very proud to be a Gold Coast-based event and can't wait to have everyone tuning in from around the globe join us here in the future. We would also like to thank the following event partners for their ongoing support of the Gold Coast Elite Sports Conference, including Gold Coast Super Clinic Physiotherapy, Coomera Anglican College, Oztech Connect, Player Path, Payne Pod, Lynn Hughes Property, Sparms, Pummel, and RDK Sports International. So to keep things moving, I will now pass it over to Ryan, who will kick off things with Coach John Mosley.
Thank you very much, Taylor Smith, a recent AFLW Premiership player here with the Brisbane Lions in Australia. It's great to have you, Coach, here as well. And to everybody tuning in from around the globe, welcome. We've got a huge amount of people that I think are pretty interested to hear from you today, Coach. Around, I guess, the HIT series and your coaching philosophies and a number of those things. But before we dive into all of those questions, because I've got plenty of them for you, don't worry about that. How are things going over there in LA, and what's it like being a Hollywood celebrity?
You know what? We got a lot of celebrities over here, so I'm just one in a million over here, in a big pot of celebrities. But it's been interesting. Hey, I've been in LA for all my life pretty much. And, now I got people coming up wanting to take a picture with me, and I'm like, hey, I've been here forever. And now you want to take a picture with me, right? A selfie. So no, it's been great. A lot of people I've already known, and in terms of the basketball community here in Southern California and in the college community. But it's been good, man. The impact it's had and people that's reached out and appreciated the show.
That's great. And are things now starting to get back to a little bit more normality post this COVID scenario that we've all found ourselves in over the last 18 or so months?
Yeah, finally. I mean, we March 2020, we were out of the facility, and we didn't get back into the facility until June 1st, 2021. So it was a little tough. It was hard. One of the toughest times that I've been through as a coach. I thought I had some tough times, and this was a tough time. But it's getting back to normal. We're back in the facility. I'm able to see guys again and kind of like get back in the locker room and tell crazy jokes and be guys again, right, in the locker room. So yeah, a little bit of normalcy. Yeah. I'll miss most of the family, but I've been spending time with family a lot. So.
Yeah, and that's a silver lining, I think, through COVID for most people, is the family time that they've been able to spend that, maybe they don't. It gives a chance for people to slow down, but I think we're all ready to kick things off again for sure. So throughout the program, we saw a little bit about you, the coach, the father, the person. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and how you became involved in basketball.
Yeah, well, I grew up in the inner city and right here in South Central Los Angeles, probably in some of the roughest parts. But what's interesting is as I mentor some young men and I coach young men that don't have father figures at home, that have dysfunctional families. I was fortunate enough, I did have my mom and dad at home. But while I had them at home, when I walked out the door, there was dysfunction when I walked out the door. So there was still a choice I had to make. And fortunately, when I walked back in the door, I had to look at my father and make the right decisions. Mm-hmm. And so I think, while there was still a fork in the road, I had a little bit more help. But growing up in the inner city, it created a level of toughness, kind of watching my back, but also having kind of a diverse field. I kind of got a sense and I think developed maybe a feel, a little bit of a feel for people. And Los Angeles is a place that's so diverse, so many personalities, people come in and out, that you develop a little bit of a feel for people. And so those are some traits that I carry on into my coaching. But just grew up in LA, went to a tough high school, in terms of Hard Knocks High School. Got through that and struggled a little bit academically. And so I had to go to a community college. And for those of you over in other countries, we got the 2-year colleges. And then we have the 4-year university. So I didn't make it into the 4-year university because, I struggled a little bit academically. So I went to the 2-year college, which is where I coach at now. And I was able to get through, and I earned a scholarship to the 4-year university and had 2 more years to play at the Master's University. And so in that is where I really was coached by my mentor, and my mentor actually worked with John Wooden. And so a lot of principles there that I got a chance to meet John Wooden, who was a legend, go figure. And then there's this Christian college that I'm at. And so that's where faith kind of got jumbled in there, and I grew spiritually. And then, I get my degree and I move on, and I travel and I go on a missions trip, and that changed me a little bit. And then I come back and I coach at where I was at, at the university where my mentor is at, and he kind of led me through. And I learned some great principles basketball wise. So I learned a lot about basketball, and I think I learned a lot about how to respond in high pressure and high level situations, and a little bit of the mentorship aspect that I have in terms of the love for people. It comes from me, my background, my father having the love for, just people and wanting to see people do well. And you intertwine that with some great things that I learned from my mentor about the game of basketball and how to work through a season and how to work through developing a team. And I move on to a Division I school, Cal State Bakersfield, and I learned a lot there about recruiting. And then from there came here to East LA Community College. I kind of wanted to be closer with family, because when you're at the university coaching, you do a lot of traveling and recruiting. I'm here at the community college where my recruiting is kind of centralized. It's for the community college being the community. So I don't have to travel as much. All of our games are kind of local, within 100-mile or 200-mile radius. It's not like I'm traveling across country to play games. And so I can be with family. And so I'm a family guy. My family's young. So it gave me an opportunity to coach competitive ball, but at the same time, be at home. So that's kind of where I'm here, where I'm at. And how all this last chance you stuff happen is weird to me. I don't know how that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, how did the documentary come? We've seen obviously a lot of the football programs in the Netflix documentary series with the Last Chance U. How did it come to East LA and be part of your program? What was the process, and how did you feel when you first heard about it?
Well, you imagine all of forget the universities. Imagine the community colleges in the United States, man. There's thousands, right? And out of all the thousands that they could have started with a basketball program, they gave me a cold call and they asked me if that's something that I would be interested in. And I really didn't watch the football before. I'm like laser focused, man. I don't watch TV, right? Like I don't watch TV. And they told me about some documentary. And immediately I'm like, no, this is not happening. I'm not doing that. Like I'm a basketball coach. I'm all into coaching, and I'm not into television cameras following me. I'm into developing young men and coaching, and I don't need cameras around me. In my 20s, when I was in 20s or when I was a teen, man, bring the cameras on.
Yeah.
Bring them on. I want to be seen. I'm sure everybody loves the way social media is now. They would love the cameras to follow them, but I didn't want any parts, because I got a family now, I got a career and a job, and I wanted to leave it at that. Yeah. And, there's a few people that said, you don't do it. You're going to get fired for doing something crazy, and then there are some people that said, then I come to a friend of mine who's, a man of faith, and my pastor of all people. I thought he would say, no, don't do that. Don't do any of that Hollywood stuff. And my pastor says, you know what, you need to share and show how you mentor and how you lead people with your faith and how you coach. And I was like, what? But what if I do something to shame my faith or shame my family? And he said, no, you won't do that because you live your life. We know how you live your life out. And I said, well, I guess I got to do it. So, and it was a little bit of a panic for me for a moment. And I said, well, I'm all in it now. No turning back. So there you go.
I think, speaking on behalf of everyone tuning in this morning, we're pretty happy that you did do it, because the insights, I think, to yourself, the players, what goes on behind the scenes, some of the triumphs, some of the tribulations, some of the challenges, it's good to see that, because it did look, I think, from an outsider's point of view, watching, it looked very authentic and organic, rather than, a lot of shows that sometimes can be, hey, can you go and redo that again and show a bit more emotion? This looked authentic. How did the players respond when you told them? I know what your reaction is, and you talk about, geez, if I was in my 20s, hallelujah, how good's this?
Yeah.
With the players, was that their response? Were they excited about this, or were they a bit nervous?
You know what? Because it was a football show, I don't think they knew what to expect. I think the dynamics of this being a basketball and football, it was totally different. I think from a football standpoint, there's 100 guys on the team, so there's a little bit of jockeying for television time. Basketball, everybody got great film time. Now they chopped it up, but everybody was on camera every day.
Yeah.
So they got comfortable after a while. Everyone was comfortable. I don't think I told anybody. I really recruited our whole team. So our whole team did not know that it was going to happen by the time we recruited them. And then I kind of told a few guys, like I told Deshaun, and I say, hey, Deshaun, what do you think of this? He's like, oh, that'd be great, coach. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. He said, oh, that's what's up, coach. Let's do it. He said, that's what's up. And I was like, okay. He thought it was hip. And I started to share with a few people that we were going to do it, or with the players, then I said, let me go watch this show and see how hip it is. And I can see the stories and I can see the realness. And to be honest, I didn't want to watch all of it because I didn't want to feel like I had to compete with that. I didn't think we could be as entertaining. I said, there's no way we can be as entertaining as those other coaches. And I was like, man, it's going to be awful. I thought it was going to be terrible because I thought I was a little more boring. My goal is to eliminate the drama. And I was like, I don't want any drama.
Yeah.
And so there was a different level of drama. It wasn't, in some cases you saw football, maybe I think they got into fights and stuff. It wasn't that level of drama. We had other issues that kind of brought excitement to the show. And so I thought it was great. I had no idea what to expect. Didn't see any content. I didn't know how they were going to put the story together or anything. I was just like, man, I'm just out here vulnerable. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think when you use that word vulnerable, I think a lot of players, coaches, etc., showed a lot of vulnerability in that, which was really good to see. And I think you mentioned some of the players before. There was a few big characters. I think that in any team or any business, may have that as well. And, even to reference one of the players, Big Joe Hampton, a super, super talented player who probably had a lot of challenges or has a lot of challenges in his life. And you see that throughout the documentary. And you see sometimes where he's getting bad calls from a ref or something else is happening. He's got to walk off and try and compose himself in a locker room. For players and at times bigger personalities like that, how do you sort of draw the line in the sand of going, he needs a cuddle today, or enough's enough? This isn't good enough. It's disrupting the team and you got to pull your head in. How do you go about working through that to keep the dynamic of the group right and make sure that he presents and gives you the most out of himself?
Yeah, I think sharing on a number of platforms. I think the most important thing is to know the players, and if you're going to spend any time, or some people say waste any time, you got to spend the time knowing what's going on in each of those guys' lives. And I think the best way I could have the impact on their lives or get them to respond the right way or make changes to know exactly what's going on. So, during the whole time, I know my aunt, she called me and she says, boy, don't let that boy talk to you that way. Don't let Joe Hampton talk to you that way. And I'm telling her, well, in that moment, I knew exactly what was going on in his home life and what he was dealing with. what are some of the issues and challenges he had going on? And so I can see in that space that I knew where he came from home, and I knew what was going on at that moment. And then there's times where I'm like, where I can actually, because of the communication, because we're constantly in communication, and this is for leaders as well, that if we're in constant communication with our, with our employees, or with our employer, or even as a parent, if we're in constant communication and we kind of know what's going on, we searching and hunting to see how we can understand and know what's going on and know how they're feeling. I think I kind of that's something that I probably did more of that than I did coaching, man. I was trying to find out what's going on. Why is this dude coming in the gym? Why is he walking in the gym pouting? Or instead of he walks in the gym 5 minutes late, let me find out why. Maybe he didn't have the money to catch the train, the fare for the train, and he was waiting for someone to give him the fare for the train. And so he was late. He had to hop the train illegally, and he's here late.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't realize that it was almost a miracle that he even got there. We're criticizing the fact that he's there with a frown. Well, it was a miracle that he's there in a sense, based on how his life is shaped up. It was sometimes I would just celebrate the fact that the whole team was there, and just deal with an attitude and say, you know what, I know what's going on. And I think that's something that instead of judging and automatically, we got to take a look at what's really going on. Mm-hmm. And why are they responding a certain way? What abuse have they gone through when they were little that causes them to respond this way to adversity? So, and I can go on and on. I can give you a list as I had done my research before to find out what was going on in Joe Hampton's life. What's going on in Deshaun. And it's not just those guys, it's 15 guys that have the same issues. And of course, they didn't show it in the film because they didn't have enough film to do it. But they chose a few. But you just got to know what's going on in their lives. And then then there's a little bit of a feel, right? There's a little bit of a feel for people and knowing when they need it and when they don't. But I think that's where the core of understanding when and when not to jump on. He needs a hug because I know what he was going through last night.
Yeah, it's great, and it's actually very synonymous, I guess, with other coaches and people that we've had on this. And I mean, you referenced John Wooden, never got the chance, but been at UCLA and seen the success and heard lots of really cool stories. We've had a lot of other really good coaches. Kevin Eastman's another one who spent a lot of time at the NBA level that speaks about knowing your players and actually understanding them, whether that's work or life. It's doing that and watching the whole way through the documentary. There's days where you're in their face, you're super fired up, and you're so passionate about what you do. And you reflect back, and one thing that you said, I think in episode 1 was, I'm looking to give these players a way out. You talk about the adversity that they come out, and you can see that passion resonates in the way that you coach. The difference between community college, and I know we referenced that before, to a Div 1 school, etc. What are some of the dynamics and the differences between both of those, and why you are so passionate about coaching at East LA and some of the things that you help people? I know that's a long-worded question, and I'm trying to just pump it all out because I'm very passionate about this myself, but I think as a coach and a leader, knowing your players and that is really good, and having an understanding, and that's part of what your program is compared to a Division 1 college that maybe people around the world that aren't in the American space know a little bit more about.
Well, a lot of it comes from my faith. I mean, and those that have given me a second chance. Number one, God has given me a second chance. That's number one. Number two, there's a lot of people that have given me second chances. And I even like the name of the show. It's the last chance, right? Last chance. You get another opportunity, and this may be your last chance. What am I there for if that's not the driving if that's not the driving force? Like I've come to a point. So I've coached as a head coach now. I've been doing this for 22 years, but as a head coach, it's going on 9 years, right? And I've had I feel good about myself now. I got a reasonable amount of success. I win games. Coaches of the year, 5 coaches, all of that stuff, it doesn't satisfy me as much as tuning in to ESPN and watching a player that I coached and watching him and knowing the struggles that he's gone through, watching him on television, you know what, that gives me more satisfaction than me saying, hey, I won a championship. And that's what I realized. And so now I've become more passionate about that. I remember my first year as a head coach, you know, and there's a separation, assistant coach and head coach. You know, there's a different role, but as a head coach, you know, they tell you, you have to win, and you do. You have to win or you'll get fired. That's just the nature of the business, right? So the driving force, I got to win. But what was the message to get them to win? Hey, we got to get to the next level. In order to get to the next level, we got to win. So I'm selling the guys like in my first year, come on, man, I want all you guys to get to the university. That's what you came here for. That's the goal. That's the vision. That was the mission for everybody on the first team that I coached. We got to get to the 4-year university. And the way we're going to do that, to get to the next level where you got more resources, where you got that college scholarship, is we got to win games. Because if you win games now, college coaches are going to say, I want the winners. I want those guys. He's a good player because they won championships, right? And so the goal is to get to the university level and get you there. So what do we got to do to get you there? The best way is to get you on this platform of success so that and elevate you so that everybody sees you. So you got to win. And now when you're at the championships and you're in the championship tournaments, guess what? Everybody shows up. We got the Olympics coming up. What? And how many viewers are going to be watching the Olympics, right? Because they did what they needed to do. They won games. They did everything necessary. And then when we get to the championship, the final game of the Olympics, guess what? It'll have the most viewers on that game. The most eyes will be on that final game. And that's what we're looking for. Let's get to the final game. Let's get to the pinnacle so the most eyes can get on you. So we can display who you are as a player. And now you have value. And now once you have value, now you get recruited to go to the university level. And so I've seen that as the carrot to dangle in front of these guys. Like, hey, let's go. Let's get to that university level. Well, in order for us to win games, guess what? We got to come together. We got to play together. You got to respond the right way through adversity. And so now we start peeling the onion. How do we get here? Okay, here we go. First layer is let's respond the right way to adversity. We know the basketball stuff, right? Jump stop, chest pass, execution, defense, play tough, rebound, do all that. But then when we talk about how do we respond, creating that championship character, we got to respond the right way. We got to discipline. We got to have condition. We got to do all of those things. And that's what we're trying to sell. And that's what we're trying to motivate them to do. And that's the most satisfying thing is when they're in this miserable state. Even when you saw at the end, if you watched the show at the end, it didn't end well. It didn't end well. But I thought we won. I said we won. And the reason why I thought we won is because I thought we figured it out. You guys figured out how to respond at the next level. You guys are ready to go to the next level. I didn't know if we were going to be able to get them there because of the pandemic, but we were able to get them there. And that's what brings joy to me. And so that's where the drive and the inspiration comes, is a young man, and it can be a young lady, that when they walk through the door, they look at me and I can see they're defeated because they've never been at a university. They're defeated. They have their home life is maybe not functioning well. They got dysfunction. They've been let down by maybe other coaches or maybe people or maybe family member. And I see this eye. I see a diamond inside that they truly can make it there. And I'm telling them, hey, let's change the world. Let's change how the world views you. And you know what? We're going along and they don't believe it. But I say, that's okay. I believe it if you just keep doing it. Watch what happens. And the joy that I have at the end of the day, we can get all the way to the day they sign their scholarship and they still don't believe it. You know, I got one of the most heartfelt messages from KJ Allen when he transferred and went to Texas Tech. That's a Power 5 school, which means those are one of the top universities in terms of resources from the NCAA, from the NCAA. He goes to Texas Tech. He sends me a text message as if he can't believe he's there. And I always get those messages from the players when they go. And I'm thinking, like, why is he saying this? And I'm thinking like, you know, he really didn't believe that he was going to make it until he got there. You know, they really don't. I don't care how well they perform when they're with me, how whatever smile they have, the joy at when they get there and when they make it. Sometimes they really don't believe it. So you have to believe for them. And so that's where the drive is. I realize that sometimes they really don't believe that they're going to make it until they get there. And so I say, just follow what we say do, and then you can make it. And fortunately enough, man, almost I am 98, 99% of the time they make it. And that's the greatest joy. That brings tears to my eyes. The wins and losses, man, I've had enough of those now.
Yeah. It's inspiring. I mean, firstly, you're a phenomenal human being, I think, and everybody is searching for somebody to believe in them. I think wherever they are in their life and how well they're doing or they're not doing, it's critical. And I can tell, even talking to you now, the amount of passion and that real sense of wanting to be a great role model and to help people. I mean, you've got a pretty full cup. You're a dad, you've got 3 kids, you're a husband, you've got a lot of things in your own life, you're a coach, and I'm assuming that your job isn't go in, coach, punch out, and then that's it. You're getting text messages, you're getting phone calls, something else has happened. How do you manage being a family man, being present, I guess, being a coach, a mentor, a husband? How do you find balance?
You know what? I've been asked this question, and I've even asked the question as I was going through being mentored. And you know what I found out is, I think as a coach, okay, let's say a college coach, I think a lot of times what we do as college coaches, we still try to have our life, right? I think if you gonna make a commitment to saying, I'm gonna pour into young men's life, I'm gonna pour into my family's life, I'm giving 100% to family, I'm giving 100% to these young men. And I want to do what Coach Mosley is doing and really impact and change lives. Then here's what I have for you. And this is what I have for you. Then you really don't have, and I know this is going to rub some people the wrong way. Well, I need me time. Well, you know what? Then that male going out and having a beer time, I think that time is probably time that you lose. So when after basketball is over, our families understand. My kids, my wife, they understand that sometimes, you know what, I'm gonna be involved in basketball all the way till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. But you know what they don't understand is when basketball time is over, and then I'm out doing something else, doing me time. Right after basketball is over, job is over, it's time for family, and vice versa. Once family time is over, there's not much room for that personal social life. And for me, that's how I'm able to kind of juggle and manage it. If I want 100% in my family's life, where I'm having an impact in my family's life and they're not being neglected, if my work and career and other people that I'm trying to impact are not being neglected, then my solution to it is going into it with love. And I'd rather love, if I can love others first rather than loving myself, then that's where the balance happens. And then now I can get a sense of fulfillment through my family by being with them. I can get a sense of fulfillment by seeing all these young men move on and things moving forward. Sometimes we look for the fulfillment within myself. Well, let me have my me time. I'm cutting off my job and the players, and I'm cutting off family, and I need my me time. And sometimes if you say you want to be committed, for me, what I do is that time is eliminated, and I get my fulfillment through the family. I get recharged by spending time with my family. So a lot of people say, I need to get recharged. I need some relaxed time. My relaxed time is with my family. Okay, so that's added time. So if you want to be fully committed, we have university coaches that are out there coaching and spending time after time after time. And I think our families understand that. But after you spend that time with those children, then you come and you spend time with your children 100%. And you miss out on having that me time. And so you ask me, I mean, that some others that may offend some people and they may have a solution or a way to do other things. But for me, that's how I do it, and that's how I balance it. It's go to work and it's go home. It's go home and it's go to work.
Yeah.
And the fulfillment comes through impacting lives of those young men at my job and spending time and nurturing my family.
Yeah, that's very powerful stuff, without a doubt. And speaking of your family, because I know that you've got 3 talented young athletes within that as well, and you, I know you've seen the series, they're out watching games and that as well. What did they think when you told them? We've spoken about you and we've spoken about the athletes. How did they receive it when you said there's going to be a Netflix series and I'm the star?
Yeah, you know what? We tried. I think we purposely tried to live simple. You know what I'm saying? Because I want my children to kind of develop their own sense of individuality, of they're gonna grow. We live okay and comfortable, but we don't live over the top. We can probably try to live over the top, and I can add some things to our life to make life seem like it's this grand old life, right? But we try to live simple so that they can kind of grow into their own space and who they are. And so I didn't think they thought it was a big deal. Like, okay, so what does that mean? Well, they're gonna come and they're gonna film us at our home, and they're like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, what is that? And not what's crazy is not up until the show started that I even did social media. And now it's like I got social media and I got followers and stuff, and it's like a pain. Like, it's like a pain to post and do all that. And people are telling me, Coach Mosley, you got to post more and you got to tweet more. And I'm like, I don't have time for that, right?
Yeah.
So life was a little bit more simpler. And we never watched TV as much as we watched during the pandemic. And so it didn't mean as much, right? And I think they kind of followed my lead, and they followed my lead. Like, we're going to live our lives who we are. And you get tempted, right, to try to do more than what you are or be more than what you are. And I was like, you know what? I don't have time to do it. I don't have the money to pretend like I'm somebody who I'm not. Let's just be who we are. Let's go to our small little church, right? And we're here at our small little house, and that's just who we are. And I think my kids, that's just how we are, and that's how we lived it out. We didn't try to be anything fake, and they're the same way now. And my daughter kind of teases me. She's like, "Oh gosh, like, you got followers? Like, dude, ugh." She's like, "Ugh, why are people following you?" And they laugh when people stop and take pictures with me and all that. They're like, they like laugh like, what is?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think, look, we've got I've got a few more questions to pump through, but guys, if you've got some questions, throw in the Q&A box, and we'll get to those as well as we go, as we sort of come towards the back end of the session. But I like the way that you talk about, simplicity and doing the things that you do and doing well. I know that we've spoken about this before, and I've got this weird fascination with you and the sweeping machine, but I think that's really cool, because when we spoke about a month ago or whatever, we were talking about this, and I know that in the show, it's like, you know what, coaches, like, if you want something done right, do it yourself, and you didn't want players slipping over as well, which I get, and I think that's really cool. But you said that there's a bit of a therapeutic view to doing that as well, and it helps you relax before games, etc. Run us through that.
Yeah, it all started you just kind of want it done right, and I think for me, it's even an execution thing. Like, it's important that we have our footing, on the court, and if you don't, then we can't play like we want to play, and it can create this, this unwanted feeling, and it can affect your performance. Now, it can affect the other team as well, but I don't want my team thinking about that. And so I've tried over the years, and your staff, it changes year to year, and so you got to train somebody to do it this year, and no, do it like this and it'll work out better. And they say, yeah, I got it, coach. And you know what? They don't got it. I'll let them do it, and I'm like, nah, you don't got it. And for me, it's that important that we're not thinking about the floor slipping because there's too much dust on the floor, but to have a clean floor where we can have grip. We play so hard and we move so hard. And so, you know, I would do it, and it's kind of like even before practice, I would start sweeping, and I can kind of think through it. There's a lot. There's a lot in there. You know, I mean, I think the players can see that you're not too small to do anything. You know, a lot of coaches are like, I'm not mopping the floor. Let's get managers. You mop the floor. Go do it. You know, mop the floors and get the balls out. I'm not touching the ball. I'm not wiping up sweat. I'm like, why not, dude? I need to get it done. It's just you're there, right? Do it.
Yeah.
Until I, you know, if I'm coaching in my 70s, I probably can't do it. But right now, I'm just doing it. You know, I'll show up, and we don't have the resources. We're not a university, so I don't have several custodians, and it's all limited. And if I tell them to do it, they're not going to do it right because we don't have the resources. They got other jobs to do. So I'll just do it, and I'll do sweep the floor. And before games, that's really before home games, I really make sure it's done. Sometimes in practice, I'll let the coach, but I have to do it because I'm not willing to lose a game for that one little dust on the floor, the player slip, and he can't guard somebody, or he can't take off and have his footing to move the right way like we want him to move because the floor is dusty. And that's how anal I am, I guess. I mean, I guess it bothers me that much that I'm willing to say, nope, I'll do it, because it never gets really done right. And they don't really understand, to me, how important it is. So no offense to anybody else, but I'm gonna do it. And you know, I'll go in there and I'll turn on my gospel music before, and everybody knows that's Coach Mosley's time, and I'm got the machine going. I may have earphones in, or I may play it over the speaker. And I kind of, you know, I just kind of clean the air, you know, in the space. And I like to say I like to clean the room and have a good spirit in there. And I'll dust the floor and do it well. And I take me about half an hour before a game, before the next team shows up and do shoot around. And then once that's over, then I shut it down. And if I got to take a shower, I take a shower, or I'll go and get me a nice meal before. But that's just me, man. I got to make sure that it's done right. And that's just one of maybe 50 things that need to be done, you know, and that's a big deal before a game, or before, so that you can have a good practice or a good game. And, you know, and it's kind of therapeutic. Again, you got the machine, it's humming and you're moving, you know, it kind of, you know, sometimes folding clothes can be therapeutic, right? Sometimes, you know, washing a car can be therapeutic. It's kind of like washing your car, you know, your toy car outside, and cleaning it up and wiping the rims off, you know. That's how it is for me, man. I like to make sure it's done right.
Yeah, that's good to hear, and I think it sets a good example. My wife gives me a lot of chores at home too, John, and she tells me it's therapeutic. Go and do it. So it must be, I guess. So it's great to go through it. I mean, you referenced this before, you know, and one thing I want to jump into. You talk about motivating the players, giving them a way out to do this, and the motivation is you got to win to be seen, to get you to the next level. We want to help you with your academics, and you see, you know, Malik, other athletes that maybe struggle with that. We know that getting to Div 1 is around talent, but it's also around, you know, character, and it's around the academic side of it as well. You're trying to push them to get there. So you're winning. We're having a great season. This is all happening. We know COVID's happening in the background, and then all of a sudden, everybody's sitting on the bus ready to rock and roll, and you walk in an emotional moment to say, guys, unpack your things. Basically, we're not playing. What was that moment like, and how was that received, and what was it like? Because that sort of comes to the end of the show in that too, but what's the flow on effect from that?
Yeah, the biggest thing is I felt like I let those guys down because they did everything I asked them to do. I mean, we were 29-1, and our team was a good team, and like I said, I didn't say it because of the show. It felt like it was the best team that I've had in terms of talent, in terms of playing well together, and they were just too stubborn to lose, and they loved each other. And sometimes you get some bickering, which infiltrates the execution, right, of your team, and you try to, you try to work around that. But this team, they really liked each other, and they liked playing for each other, and they did everything that I asked them to do. It took us a while to get there, but we were at the point where they finally said, "Okay, we're here." Coach Mosley said, "If we did what we were supposed to do, we were going to be here, and we still got a few more ways to go." And you know what? They were ready to go, and I felt like I let them down. Although I had nothing to do with the COVID-19, I just was like, man, I felt even from a spiritual standpoint, if you do what you're supposed to do, if you align yourselves with the stars, if you do it all like you're supposed to do it, and we come together, then everything's going to work out. Ultimately it did work out how it was supposed to work out. But at that moment, man, I think the biggest lesson there was to share with them right there I mean, every year, like I'm watching the NBA sports, right? There's only going to be one team in the NBA that doesn't lose their last game, right? There's only going to be one team that didn't lose their last game. So the percentages of you winning it all is like slim to none anyway.
Yeah.
But it's the preparation for knowing, and like I share with them, there's going to be more painful moments like this. You could do everything that you're supposed to do. You could go 100%. You could get all straight A's for all those great students out there. And you can walk through a corporate office door and expect to get a job, and it may not happen. You may not get that job right away. You may walk through the door and get the job like that and not even finish your degree. Who knows how these things are going to happen? As a player, you can shoot 1,000,000 shots and make 1,000,000 shots and miss the game winner, right? And then you can work on, you can shoot 2 shots a week and then win the game winner. I mean, who knows? But what I do know is you doing what you're supposed to do, locking in, it gives you a better chance. The percentages go up of you having success. So by doing all these things, I still didn't want to send a false hope to these guys that I'm promising you that you're going to win it all. I'm saying, no, we want to position ourselves and give ourselves a better chance, because we all know how life is. Who knew COVID was happening? I'm sure there's some people on that not only just, we all kind of heard a little bit, but I'm talking about major impact. Who knew that was going to happen, the major impact that was going to happen? Yeah. And some of us were doing everything we were supposed to do. We were good people. We were getting good grades. We were hitting our marks, whether if it was in business, or we were doing everything we were supposed to do. And then something like COVID hits, and then there's no guarantee. So I thought I had to share that with our guys at that moment. And that's the lesson for everyone in life. And for those of us who are seasoned in life, who lived a little bit, we know that we're going to feel disappointed. We're going to feel pain in life, unnecessary pain. Like we're going to be hurt for no reason at all. Like, a bee can come up and sting us. And it's like, God, why did this bee come and sting me right now? And now my hand is swollen. What did I do to deserve this? Right? Well, you got to look at it on the other side, right? There's some lucky things that can happen. You can win the lottery and say, well, what did I do to deserve this? You're not that special that you deserve that either. You're not that special that you deserve to win to get the game winner either. You were fortunate enough that happened. And sometimes you're unfortunate that happened. But guess what? If we lock in and we do we create good habits, if we create the discipline, we eliminate some of the negative things that could happen. We eliminate them. And now things are left open to chance. But all of the things that could have happened because you did everything you were supposed to do, those things were eliminated, right? Everything that the guys did, they did what they were supposed to do. So all of the things were eliminated. They won all their games. And now it was left up to chance, and chance was that COVID happened, and there was nothing we could do about it. So there still can be pain. There still can be pain. But they came out of it because they're all in a good position right now.
A lot of invaluable lessons, I think, within that as well. And it's great to hear this live, really, and feel like we're part of that too. I guess at the back end of it, though, there were some really good success stories. Some of the players that we saw in the show have gone on to Div 1 colleges and excelled. So run us through where maybe a couple of those guys are now and what they're up to.
Yeah, Joe Hampton, just this season, 2021, he had a great year at Division I Long Beach State University. He's got a ton of followers, and his life has completely changed, which we talked about in September of 2019. Joe, we're going to change your life. And then when I went home, I was like, man, I don't know how we're going to change this dude's life. I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. I felt like I was lying to him every day, but I had to keep telling him, you know. Same thing with Deshaun. He didn't know what he wanted to do because his mom had passed. Coach, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. His life has completely changed. Sacramento State University, he's, you know, getting ready to graduate, and his life has changed with business and all these great things as he's doing. Malik Muhammad, Central Michigan University, put his name in the portal. So I just talked to him like an hour ago, and I'm like, why did you put your name in the portal? Because he's looking to transfer to another Division I school. But Mark Bolin, everybody says we rocking with Mark. You know, he's at NAI University, which is a great success story as well. You got at Lincoln University. You got Ronnie Knighting, man. He was deep on the bench. We never saw him. He's at San Diego Christian University. There's like 9 guys at universities, you know. Lavelle Ziegler, the point guard, he went to Chicago State. Jordan Polanese, he's the nephew of Odin Polanese. He's who played in the NBA. He's you know, at Chicago State as well. He did well. All these guys graduated with their 2-year degrees and they moved on. You got we got Marquise Copeland. He's at Nyack University. He's the Division II university. It goes on and on, man. I can't even think of all these guys, man. They're all over the place.
You must be proud. And you've got some really good support people, I think, around you as well. And we saw that, you know, throughout the course of the show too. And it's great to see some of those success stories. I guess off the back of that, and we'll jump into a couple of questions in a sec. Have you found that since the show's aired, there's a lot more people knocking on the door saying, hey, I want you to try and help change my life too? And how do you sift through and navigate who you bring in and who you don't?
Yeah, for those of you who are listening who've reached out, man, one day my goal is to get through all of the emails, but there's so many people. You know, my heart is burdened when I read the direct messages that are saying, Coach, can you mentor me? I mean, I've probably gotten about 3,000 of just that message. Can you mentor me? And there's no way that I can, you know, navigate through all of those. There's so many people that want to come play here at the college. And of course, there's, you know, I've gotten about 5,000 messages that those who want to come play all over the world.
Yeah.
There's ask for prayer, and so I've been able to get back to a couple messages and still live my life. I would love to get back with those and the messages, but that's the one thing that's probably as a little bit saddened to me, that there's so many people that have reached out that are looking for someone that they can cry out to, and they're crying out, and we just need more people. And I feel like there's no way. There's more. I know guys. I was just fortunate enough to be on television, and they kind of highlighted some of the great things that I'm doing. You know, I'm not perfect, you know, but they highlighted it and it made me look great. And then they played great music, man. They got this great soundtrack. So they just made everything look great, man. I was just like, and so everybody wants to be a part of that. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there doing that work, and, you know, that should be highlighted as well. And maybe those that are reaching out to me, maybe you have those mentors in your life. It's just, they just made me look good because I was on TV. You know, I want to go there. Like, no, you have it right there. You have great mentors that are helping you. If they're telling you if they're telling you the truth and you don't want to buy it, if they're not abusing you, and you know that they're coaching you, or you know that they're mentoring you, you know that they're teaching you, or there's your teachers the right thing. Maybe you don't like the delivery, then no, those are good people. Those are people doing the same thing I'm doing. If the television cameras were around them and Netflix fixed it up and put good music behind it, you would say, man, that's a great teacher. And you're probably sitting back and saying, I can't stand this teacher. And maybe it's a great teacher and you don't know it because they don't have the Netflix music behind them, right? Or the Netflix budget. So I think that's some of it. But that's all the people that have reached out, man. I really love it. And I wish I can get back with you know, and get to some of the people that have reached out. But I'm trying, man. I'm trying. But yeah, it's been an abundant amount.
Well, I think that I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I think you are an extraordinary, special human being in the way you go about it. Because if I had a Netflix soundtrack follow me around, John, I don't think it would look as good as what you produce, mate. So I appreciate that. Look, I know we're going to wrap it up pretty shortly. There's a few questions that have come through, so push them through the Q&A box. We'll try and get them over the next 10 minutes before we sort of wrap up. Someone said in there, social media, like a pain, not much TV, not much time relatable from the East Coast NC. So thank you for that. I think that was more of a statement around that as well. How do you get a team back to winning? I think they have just forgotten how to win. So that might be from a coach. I think, how do you get a team back on track?
You know what? I just think you got to, if you know what it takes as a coach, I think you just got to, there was a team I had, let me tell you, that we had 10 losses in a row. That ended up being the team that went to the state championship game in 2015. And what I did is, we were losing. Nothing was going the right way. Everybody was down. Everybody was pouting. I just magnified what I thought was right tenfold, more than I've ever done in my coaching career. I ran them harder than I've ever ran them. I made them do the fundamentals harder than they've ever done them. Like, if you didn't jump stop, we were running. If you turned the ball over, we were running. There was one day, I think we went out and we would make a mistake. I said, put on your running shoes. We're going back to the track. Come back in. It was my 3 or 4 hour practice. And you know what? I just grounded them for a whole month because there was nothing else to do. And I did that. And I just stuck to what I thought was important to just develop them as being a better team, and didn't even worry about winning. I was like, we're just going to get better. We're just going to get better. And I'm going to force you to get better. And then there was a game. They said, we can't lose any more games or we won't make the playoffs. We didn't lose a game. We made the playoffs. I said, well, season will be over. We'll probably lose the first game. We won the first game in the playoffs. Well, that was great. We won the second game. We kept winning. We made it to the Elite Eight. We made it to the Final Four. We made it to the championship game. And I think it was that time that we just decided, even though we lost like 8 games in a row, we decided we're going to do everything right. And you don't have to change what you believe in. You just got to say, no, we're going to get it. And if you've had success before and you know what it takes, you just say, nope, we're going to go tenfold on what I believe the success is going to take. And we're going to just do it. And you as a coach, you got to have that conviction and say, forget it. Forget wins and losses. I'm going to just go 100% on what I believe is important, because you're the guide of the ship. Okay. And you're guiding 15 guys. If it's a basketball team or 100 guys, you can't hop on 10 different philosophies and try to figure it out. Just go with what you know. It's better to everybody go the wrong way and eventually go the right way than you trying to go the wrong way, this way, that way, all over the place. You're trying to follow all these philosophies. If you're going the wrong way, coach, just get everybody on board. You all go the wrong way. You know, that'll be better than 100 people going 100 different ways.
Yeah, for sure. And great advice there, I think, as well. Lukey Mathers, who's he's a leadership guru here in Australia. He's put in there that you're way too modest. You have immense patience. So I think that's a cool little statement. Ken Lee, one of our partners, has jumped on and said, I thought your coaching staff, particularly Kenneth, that's his name, that's probably why he's put that in there, and Robert were amazing and worked off you really well. Sorry if it looks like I'm kissing the computer. I'm just trying to read this from a bit far away. Are those guys coming back for the upcoming season, and how much do you lean on them during this season?
Well, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wouldn't have the success I've had without having good support. You got to have people in your corner that are like-minded. And I think when I look for coaches, I don't look for necessarily all of the coaching attributes. I look for the people. Are we like-minded and a passion towards helping young men? And I think once I saw that in Coach Rob and saw that in Coach Hunter, I knew that all the other stuff, it didn't matter, because if our goal was to get these young men to where they needed to be, then we'll all kind of mesh together. And I think that's what I saw in the coaches. And I think that's why we work well together, is because we're like-minded. When I bring a coach in, they ask to coach, I say, hey, well, just come stick around, come look around our practice and tell me what you think. And right away, I can tell if what their intentions are. If their intentions are they want to come in and coach and they want to come in and, tell players what to do. One of the first things Coach Rob did when I met him in the summer prior, and he walked through the door, he didn't try to coach anybody. Coach Rob tried to develop a relationship, and he tried to understand these guys before he started yelling and screaming and say, do a jump stop. He walked through the door and said, I can't yell at these guys. They don't know me. Yeah. But once he developed a relationship, and then he was able to be able to mentor, to be able to coach. So I think those guys understanding and having some expertise in the business, it helped me a lot. I wouldn't have the success without coaches. So they're just an extension. So you talk to me, you're talking to all three of us right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's business, sport, life in general. You are who you hang around with and the support that you have around you, I think, as well. And it's really important to have great mentors and great people in team environments to support the overarching goal as well. I think as we sort of come to a bit of a close here, I've got a couple of quick fire questions that I just want to sort of pump out, and then if we've got time, we'll jump through. We actually might just get to one from Coach Manners as well. Coach, and we might roll it out here. Has your budget from your school increased since Netflix documentary? Are you able to help kids financially more, and are you getting more interest from kids through that program, which is great? Probably to add on to that as well, have they found a budget to give you an EA as well, to an executive assistant to get through your emails, as probably to add to that too? So good question.
Well, you know what? We've got some help. There's some that on the outside, they've done a good job of helping us and say, hey, coach, how can we help? You know what? We don't need much, but no, this is a state-ran program, and unfortunately, we're still in the same, budget situation. Now, I think they've realized that, hey, there is value in these young men in terms of helping and supporting them and moving them on. In order to understand the dynamics here in California and how it is, no, to my knowledge, and it has nothing to do with my direct supervisor. I think it's just a vision that the overall vision that they have for the community college sports. So, and I think the show does a good job of really saying, hey, you guys need to take a look at how we support these schools. And ours is not one that has got any tremendous support in terms of, even since the show. So, not to throw anybody under the bus, but no, I haven't seen an increase just yet. But support from those outside and from other countries and businesses to say, hey, Mosley, we want to partner and help you guys out. That's been great. And we'll take that, man. By the way, it keeps a chip on my shoulder when it keeps a chip on my shoulder anyway. So.
Yeah, well, we'll lead a few to you, John, and we'll take that conversation offline about a few things when we finish. Lukey, mate, this has just pumped in a good question, actually. Can you expand on the rules without relationships equals rebellion?
Yeah, as I've kind of shared, I think if you don't have that deep relationship, then they're not going to listen to you. And for all those who are leading, coaching, and all the great leaders out there, they know that, hey, the people that I listen to are people that make me feel good, right? I mean, if you smile, you make me feel good, I'm listening. But if you are constantly pointing a finger and you demean me, you make me feel like I'm really nothing and that I don't have any value, then at some point I'm not going to listen to you. I may listen to you for a minute because I have to, but at some point I'm not going to listen to you. And at the end of the day, when the back's against the wall, yeah, I may have to fight for you because that's my job. But essentially, if you're going to get sucker punched, I may step back and let you get sucker punched if you're not somebody I like. So I think it's important that they know that you love them and that you care about them and that you have a genuine interest in what's going on in their lives and that you live out the burdens with them. So as Joe is going through some legal battles, nobody saw that on television, but I was living out those burdens. As Deshaun was living out his mother, she passed, and he had a lot of legal issues to handle. I was helping him live out those burdens as he was stressed about. So you're wondering why he's acting out a little bit or responding. He's dealing with some adult situations, and I'm living out those burdens with them. And so that's the relationship, not just talking with them and saying, how are you doing for the day? How's your day? How did you wake up for the day? No, I'm talking about really living out the burden with people and knowing that you really love them. And then they'll run through a wall for you. And that's not why I was looking for, is for them to run through a wall for me, but it's so that they won't give up on themselves now. And I think that it kind of, in that regard speaks for itself. That could be a whole webinar in itself, in terms of having relationships and having how you have relationships and how you live out those burdens with others, man. So that you guys can all come together and that you can bond and you can reach these goals together, and they want to go to bat for it. They want to do whatever it takes, even for a CEO, to elevate the brand of a CEO, or a company, to make all of the employees all the way down to those in the warehouse feel special.
It's critical, and another unbelievable answer. I can't wait to go and watch this now 3 times like I did the series, I think, John. But I know we're just about out of time now. A couple of really quick questions, and thanks to everyone for throwing some up to Coach Mosley as well. Really quick 5 questions. The best and the worst thing about filming the documentary?
Well, the best is I think we got our guys to really want to do well. So I think that was a big deal. And I think that helped because they wanted to do well. And so that helped our team. I think the worst of it is I forget there's a mic on sometimes. I never swear or anything, but I mean, like, man, I'm going to the restroom and I'm like, oh, I got the mic on. And I forget to cut it off or something like that. So, but that's about it with that.
Yeah, for sure. Another question. How many suicide runs did you make the team do during the season?
Oh, I can't even imagine. I don't know, man. It's like every day we would do it for conditioning, but if you're talking about for discipline or for some adverse reason, I can't even tell you, man. I literally have a practice. We have, I think, maybe 70 days of practice, between 60 and 70 days of practice. And so maybe 50 of those days we're doing suicides, multiple suicides. So you can imagine it's probably close to 100 or over 100. Yeah.
Wow, it's a lot. I guess, one final question, and it might be hard to articulate in a few words. How would you describe yourself as a coach?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I'm not a horn tooter, or I don't like to toot my horn, but I just somebody who's passionate. I got a chip on my shoulder. I want to win. A lot of coaches say, just do things the right way and winning will take care of itself. Nah, man, you got to win, because winning is what that's what we see. That's what we gravitate toward. Winning is what gets you jobs, and winning is what allows you to have. And I'm talking about winning in life. I'm not just talking about winning a basketball game. I'm talking about winning in life. And I think it's important that we need to approach the day to win our relationships, win the moment, win the day, win the now. And I share that on many occasions. We got to win. And win our minds. I mean, there's a battle going on in with us, and that same intensity we take on the basketball court or in our jobs or in our cells, whatever we're doing, we need to take that same mentality with our minds, and we got to win. And so I want to win, and I'm a competitor and passionate about others. I love to see people do well, and I want everybody to do well, man. And as I watch television, unfortunately, which I didn't watch much before, I started to see more and more of what saddens me, and I just want to see everything just do well and people do well. So I think just having that passion and compassion for others, as ultimately as God had compassion for me, and He gave me a second chance in life.
That's great, and it's a great way to sum it up. I guess, to conclude, we've run a number of webinars, John, for, over the last sort of few months. This has been unbelievably good, and it's going to be great to watch back. We've got a conference part for this, supported by the City of Gold Coast in September, which we're really excited about. We understand that it's dinner time. You've got to get out to one of your daughter's games as well, pretty shortly as well, and go and beat that LA traffic as well. I guess a couple of points to finish off with. firstly, we can't wait to get back out to LA when the borders and everything opens up and come and say g'day and catch up in person. Second part to that is, hopefully we can make that happen. I know we spoke about it a little while ago, but to bring your team out to Australia to play a couple of games and enjoy that cultural experience, which would be great as well. So we would like to sincerely thank you for giving up your time. We know you get thousands and thousands of requests, and you've made us feel pretty special by jumping on and rounding out this program. To all of our partners, thank you as well. We've got a few other events that I think Lily's going to pump out some information about at Careers and Education in Sports Summit coming up at the end of July. Once again, thank you to our partners, and John, thank you to you. What's next?
Well, we just, hopefully maybe they'll come back and do season 2 or something like that. People, they've talked me into writing a memoir or something, or book. So I've started that little project. I've been talked into that. I don't know. I think it's superficial sometimes, but say, no, you got to do it. You got to put something out, give something tangible. So we got that going on. But my time is going to be in my own, my children, my family, and just pumping into these young men. I don't know how people do it, man. I don't know how you run around and do all these things when you got to invest in your children. You got to invest in these young men's lives. I don't know how you could do all these external things. It's just kind of hard. So I'm gonna try to do some. I'm gonna try to speak. I know I got a few speaking engagements coming up.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm so vested in these guys and want them to be successful. I mean, you can spend days trying to just get one kid right, and so that's where the bulk of my time will be spent.
Yeah, that's great. And appreciate it once again. We've got some gifts that we're going to post out to you, to your kids, and to your players as well, with a bit of the Australian flavour as well. So just as a token of our appreciation for you giving up your time and to immerse them into a bit of our Australian culture as well. So Coach Mosley, you're a legend. We can't thank you enough for giving up your time today. I thought it was one of the best presentations I've ever heard, and I feel truly blessed that I've been the one that has been able to sit here and talk to you for an hour whilst everyone else has to listen. So thank you once again. Enjoy, I guess, what's coming up over the next few weeks and back into training.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
Yep. Thank you.